We now have Mr. Dino Cataldo Dell'Accio, the Chief Information Officer of the United Nations Joint Stock Pension Fund, who has done the biggest deployment on security through blockchain. Dino is joining us online from New York. Dino, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Rajendra. I'm very happy to be invited to this initiative and to be part of this distinguished panel. So, as you alluded to, I'm not a health professional. I would say that I qualify myself as a data security professional. I've been with the United Nations for 25 years. My background is in auditing. For many years, I was Chief IT Auditor of the United Nations. Since 2017, I was appointed Chief Information Officer of the United Nations Pension Fund. And one of my biggest accomplishments so far was to design and implement a digital identity solution for the 86,000 retirees and beneficiaries of the United Nations residing across the globe in more than 192 countries. So my humble contribution to this event today is that if we focus on data, whether it's data in health, whether it's data in human resources, whether it's data in financial sector, whether it's data in peacekeeping operation or logistics, whatever that may be the case. The reality is today is that we are sharing the same challenges and the same concern. Many of my previous distinguished panelists, starting from Dr. Tedros, have made references to the need for ethical use of digital data, responsible use of technologies. Indeed, the title of today's event talks about the Geneva Declaration of Responsibility. So the reality is that there are common denominators when you're dealing with digital data, regardless to the sectors. So very briefly, I want to mention the emerging technologies that, for example, in my case, I had the privilege of using and implementing, such as you alluded to, Professor Rajendra, blockchain technologies, such as biometrics, facial recognition, such as artificial intelligence, and very soon we will also start facing both the challenges as well as the opportunities of quantum technologies. So when we're talking about blockchain, fundamentally we're talking about a technology that allows us to have a decentralized and transparent general ledger where transaction can be recorded in a mutable manner. Hence, the support of having something, an evidence, a corroborating evidence of a transaction that, for example, may pertain to a health record of a patient in a hospital, to be immutably verified by independent parties. We have indeed the ability to remove intermediaries in data exchange because we have, again, a decentralized, immutable ledger of data. Hence, the benefit of probably decreasing the number of potential errors that usually are introduced when you have too many parties involved in certain transactions. When we're talking about biometrics, we have indeed the ability to use a technology that allows us to uniquely identify our counterpart. For example, in the digital health, again, we can have a secure patient identification system across systems that are shared between different health providers, between different parties, and therefore, again, trying to prevent potential misidentification, potential medical errors, or duplicate records, and also allow the patient himself or herself to make decisions about what data to be recorded, what data to be shared. Then if we move on in artificial intelligence, we have now the technology that allows us to predict events, to review history, trends, and provide real-time translation of potential evolution of potential outcome of certain approach. And therefore, we can also identify how this AI, this very powerful technology, can be used in a proactive manner in the health system. And finally, we have also the quantum technology that, although on one side is proving to be a challenge because it's threatening years of established utilization of certain cryptographic mechanism, at the same time, offer the opportunity to use even more secure cryptographic mechanism, and therefore allows us to store and to share data across the globe in a more secure manner. So I just wanted to give some example without going into unnecessary technical details of the power of this emerging technology and how they can help the mission that is being clearly defined by my esteemed panelists. But what I would like to emphasize here, and this goes back to the reason why I provided you with my background at the beginning of this intervention, is that when we are talking about emerging technologies, we are talking about emerging standards. That means that today, in many of these domains, whether it's blockchain, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's biometrics, of course, we do have plenty of high-level definition of ethical principle, responsible principle, and so forth and so on. But we do not have yet, at the operational level, a corpus of mature, generally accepted standards and parameters and criteria that can allow us to securely say when and if a specific technology has been used in a responsible and an ethical manner. There are indeed some examples. There are some attempts. For example, the ISO organization has developed and made available an ISO standard for the certification of system that makes use of artificial intelligence. Hence, the ability to have a shared set of standard parameters that would allow us to demonstrate, as for example, I recently did with the digital identity system of the United Nations Pension Fund, to provide two fundamental outcomes: whether and how the artificial intelligence adopted and adapted within the UN system is explainable and is transparent. So that is one example that right now, right here, allow us to do so. Unfortunately, we don't have yet the same type of parameters, criteria, standard to do the same, for example, on blockchain, to do the same, for example, in quantum, to do the same, for example, in biometrics and facial recognition. So the problem is compounded by the fact that in reality, again, I'm trying to speak here from a bottom-up approach. At the operational level, all these technologies today are not used in isolation. Whether it's AI, whether it's a blockchain, whether it's biometric, all these systems are converging in one way or the other, are used across different platforms, whether a legacy platform or whether a new platform that makes use of this technology in some sort of a complementary way. Hence, the need for all of us within our respective domain of subject matter expertise to work together and not just embrace the principle at a high level, but really work together in developing, in joining forces in the development of standards and parameters that would allow us to prove whether, how, and when indeed the responsible, the ethical use of this technology is put in practice. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Dino. And I think you made a very important point that digital identity is going to be key if you're going to go beyond borders.